Tell us what you were like as a child, because there are always some signs of a future Navy SEAL in there, whether it's a rebellious kid or a leader or obsessive about something. Jocko said his parents wouldn't let him quit anything. Like if he took up knitting, they wouldn't let him quit knitting. So looking back at your own childhood, were there signs of the future you there?
There probably were. I was definitely very rebellious, not a great student, not a great listener. Very creative and just not very academic at all. Mm-hmm. So the SEAL teams kind of came on my radar. I don't remember exactly, but I was always infatuated with the military. When I was growing up, the Gulf War was going on, and I remember picking up all the magazines and all that stuff, and just looking at all the pictures. Really into G.I. Joes, and it got to the point where when I got to high school, like I said, I wasn't an academics guy. I wasn't interested in school, and I definitely wasn't gonna do well in college. So I decided to look into the military.
Alternatives. Did you come from a military family?
Not exactly. I mean, my dad did serve. He was a pharmacist in the Army. So definitely a totally different role, different direction. Had no interest in the medical field at all. So so I started looking at the Marine Corps. I wanted to be a recon guy. They wouldn't let me in. Went to the Army, wanted to be a Green Beret, wouldn't let me in. And the Navy recruiter kind of stuck his head out and asked if I'd ever heard of the SEAL teams, and I hadn't at the time. So he gave me, endless material to pick through, and so I did that very fast. And when I realized what it was, it just captivated me.
So how does a guy who's not, devoted to his academics, which does require the kind of tenacity and hard work you put in to become a SEAL, find it in order to go through BUDS training and actually perform at that elite level as a soldier?
It's just the only thing that caught my interest, and so nothing really in school caught my interest. And I never really felt challenged, I don't think. And so, there was a multitude of things. I wasn't the top performer out of my three siblings in sports or in academics.
Where are you in the birth order?
I'm first.
And where'd you grow up?
We moved around a lot, but primarily Missouri.
Okay, keep going.
And,
you're first.
Firstborn. And so I got in there, and long story short, maybe we'll dive in, but I just wanted to do something. One, I wanted to serve my country, and I wanted to finally give my parents a reason to be proud of me. And so that kind of carried me through.
And were they? Like when you signed up at first, what year would that have been?
That would have been 2000. No, wait. When I signed up, it was 2001.
Okay, right. It was before 9/11.
It was right before 9/11. I went to the Navy, to boot camp in July of 2001.
Oh my gosh. Little did you know what was about to happen to the country, the world, and you.
Yeah.
So were your parents proud when you signed up? Were they?
I think they were definitely worried. It surprised them. It kind of came out of left field. And so, but once they wrapped their head around it and saw that I seemed to be serious, they fully supported it.
See, that's how I feel. I would love for, I'll be sexist, my boys to serve, but I'd be terrified. If they actually said they were going to do it, I'd be in church every day, praying to God, lighting every candle in the church. I can see what your parents went through, and I'm sure most parents go through that, especially if it's not a lifelong military family.
Yeah. I would too. I have two little ones now, so
yeah,
I get it.
And, especially if you're looking at your kid and so far he's been kind of a knucklehead. I don't think this kid should have a gun. I'm not sure how this is going to go.
Very true.
So there had to be some concerns there. And just out of curiosity, what did your siblings wind up doing?
My brother is in hospitality, and my sister has her hair salon.
Okay, so they were not tempted to follow you down this road.
No.
All right. So you decide to join up for military service, and not just any military service, not just like, I don't know, the regular infantry with the Army. You decide to go for Navy SEALs. So inside, there's an overachiever just waiting to be born. And did you know anything about how hard that was going to be?
I did once I started researching it. I didn't care. I was going to do it. And I felt great all the way up until I arrived at SEAL training. And
in my mind, I was amazing right up until I started.
Exactly. And I mean, when I got there, I was 18 and, barely a man. And when I got there, there were guys there were Olympic athletes. There were guys that had already been to war and come back. Guys that had been to Panama, guys that had been to Iraq. It was championship boxers, and I was probably about a buck 30.
Wow.
Soaking wet. So
now, is this why I read you got laughed out of one of the recruiting offices?
yeah, that would be the Army and the Marine.
The Army, okay. The Marine Corps told you no.
Yeah.
Hard no. This is a common story. I've heard this from a few of our Navy SEAL buds that they got laughed at when they tried to sign up. What is it with the Army? Are the Marines just like?
I think it's just it's pretty ambitious to walk in and say, hey, I want to operate at the top level right away.
Yeah,
Let me
right.
in.
Right.
And they're kind of like, okay, guy, pump the brakes, maybe do infantry, go the long route. And I had no interest in going the long route. I didn't want to do regular infantry. There's nothing wrong with that, but I just wanted the challenge.
Do you remember back in those early days when you were first starting to train, what jumped out at you amongst the guys who surrounded you? Like, were there commonalities in this pocket of the world that were immediately noticeable as different?
Once I got to BUDS.
Or even when
training,
you just first signed up and started training? Because you didn't go right to BUDS training, right? Don't you do normal training before?
You do normal training before. I mean, I grew up in a town of 6,000 people, so there wasn't that many people that wanted to do this. I remember the first time I met, they called him a SEAL motivator. He was kind of a guy that would go around, I don't know, the country, who was a SEAL, and then now he's teaching you how to swim and kind of refining some of your techniques with running and swimming and some things that you might expect. And he just carried himself different than anybody else I'd been around before. So there's definitely a type.
Mm-hmm. Now, knowing what you know, does that come from combat or just the grueling nature of SEAL training? Like guys who are going through it today, can they get that without actually going into combat like you have?
Oh, I think so. I mean, I do believe that.
So the Navy will get it into you.
They will. They'll figure out a way.
I'm thrilled and impressed and want to do it. And a secret version of myself would love to try this. I don't think I can. I can't really even make it through 10 minutes of jumping jacks in my HIIT class. But in my mind, this could happen for me someday. And we've had lots of tough guys come on here and talk about how the toughest guys they knew didn't make it through training. Just couldn't make it through. It's just a mind over matter kind of situation. But you're telling me you didn't have anything in your past that told you you could put mind over matter and accomplish this amazing
No, I didn't. And so it was. I mean, I was an 18-year-old kid at BUDS, and it was. I mean, it's scary to see who quits. I mean, you're seeing people that you look up to, people that, I mean, you're constantly measuring up to somebody else and comparing yourself to somebody else and going, oh, if that guy didn't make it, I don't think I have a chance. And so you just put your head down and drive on and try to make it to the next meal, try to make it to the next day, and just keep driving on. And it got to the point where I wanted to quit, but I could not face calling my parents and tell them that I had failed again.
Can your savings weather an economic storm? Think about what you've put away for the future. Inflation can render cash worthless. Real estate can crash like it did in '08. Economies built on a mountain of debt can fall like a house of cards. There are very few physical assets you can invest in that can stand the test of time. But gold has withstood as a valued form of money. It's why many people are flocking to it now and why Birch Gold is busier than ever. Through a little-known tax loophole, Birch Gold lets you convert a retirement account into a tax-sheltered IRA in physical gold. And the best part, it doesn't cost you 1 cent out of pocket. To learn more, text MK to 989898 and claim your free info kit on gold. Again, can your IRA or 401k weather an economic storm? If not, consider looking into Birch Gold. Just text MK to 989898 and explore securing your savings today. Hey, thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.